the American people stand firm in the faith which has inspired this nation from the beginning. We believe that all men have a right to equal justice under law and equal opportunity to share in the common good. We believe that all men have the right to freedom of thought and expression. We believe that all men are created equal because they are created in the image of God. From this faith, we will not be moved.
Hello and welcome to the Freedom of Thought podcast. I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Freedom of Thought is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps, and I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to this show. It's nice to be back on board with you once again today. Great pleasure. Kind of enjoying the simple things in life. Getting my first Firepit experience in 2026. At the end of March, so being able to get it in before April, very exciting because of some, obviously there's been up and down weather patterns. It's been warm, it's been cold, it's been warm, it's been cold, it's warm. It's Sunday evening, it's about 9 p.m. here in Golden Valley, Minnesota at the time I'm starting to record this episode. Kind of a random thoughts type of episode, and also kind of just saying, what the heck's been going on. I apologize, it's been so long since the last episode. I really do apologize for that. It's been way too long. And, I've been working, 6 Saturdays. Yesterday was my 6th Saturday in a row, having to work 6 days a week. I know you're probably out there maybe thinking, join the club, buddy. I understand. Yep, I know a lot of people out there work their butts off and should wear the shirts. Keep working hard. Millions of people are counting on you. You know what I mean? Millions of people on welfare are counting on you just to suck your tax money away. Yeah, pretty much. And obviously, the frustrations, I think, with a lot of people. There's a lot of division among the conservatives right now, unfortunately. The whole Israel this and the support Israel crowd and the anti-Israel crowd. I would have to say I'm on the support Israel crowd. I may not agree with everything going on with this whole Iran, Israel, U.S. war type of thing. And do we truly, really know what's going on over there? I'm hearing rants from people like Jim Calhoun and such that I can't say I agree with everything he was saying. I don't know. I don't even necessarily want to get into it all too much, but I don't know. Well, kind of like he kind of sees Trump as like somebody who's just way too aggressive and basically looking for war and all that. Will I admit that I'm a little disappointed with this second term? Yeah, I am. It seems like no matter who it is, the second term is always disappointing compared to the first. Heck, I think even a lot of people would have said Reagan's second term was disappointing. And a lot of people were thinking, Bush is this strong conservative, that H.W. Bush, and that ended up being a huge freaking, disappointment, if anything, and that's why Bill Clinton got elected. But we'll try to stay off of that rabbit hole if we can, and somehow, some way attempt to enjoy. I try to get this thing going again, sorry. There we go. Some simple things in life, like a fire outside on a nice, warm, early spring day, as it's starting to cool off a little, obviously, because it's dark now. Sun has set a while ago already, but it is nice to be outside on a day like this. It really is. Kind of got into like the mid 60s at the end of March. That's a great feeling. It's always nice when you get 60 degrees something at the end of March and early April. It's a wonderful time of year when stuff starts to come back to life again. Depending on where you're at. For south of here, you might be seeing flowers already. Up here, you'll be lucky to see just kind of buds getting a little bit bigger. That's pretty much where we're at. In the neck of the woods up in the upper Midwest, the Golden Valley area, the Twin Cities, you could say. And getting hot here now because it actually, how it lit up again. The fire did, the last log, so to speak. But I don't know, all kinds of rabbit holes we can go down. And yet at the same time, daydreaming about, this spring is the best time of year. There's just no doubt about it. It always will be, in my opinion. And I'm starting to appreciate more and more the beginning of spring, even more than like when you get more in the heart of spring. It's so beautiful, and a fire pit in the heart of spring is just the greatest ever. But the last couple of years, spring have been so disappointing. Right when you get to the heart of it, it starts raining and thunderstorms, and then next thing you know, a lot of the flowers and stuff are just kind of like washed away, and everything's watered down, and all that wonderful lilac smell that, yes, even guys like, masculine guys like, seems to get watered down and washed away a bit because of the constant rain. Hoping that this is one of the drier springs like 2021. I mean, that was a gorgeous, gorgeous spring. Hopefully we're heading in that direction, but who knows? I don't know. This show is kind of all about rabbit holes, isn't it? Because that's why it's called Freedom of Thought. It's generally political, but at the same time, we can kind of go into just, again, simple things of life. I mean, Michael Savage does that all the time. He'll do episodes where he's cooking. He might be making some seafood or something. So, what the heck, or whatever he likes to cook. I think it would be seafood at times. Michael Savage obviously has good taste, and it's amazing that he's still got it. He's still going and everything. And is he a year older than my dad or 2 years older? It's nice to see. Nice to see men being still healthy, still rolling, and women out there getting, as they approach their mid-80s and still able to do like podcasts and such. I think that's amazing. Not that my dad does a podcast, but he's still able to go out and work in the yard. That's pretty impressive, I'd have to say. As what did he reach? 83 this year. Holy moly, man. So crazy. It's nice to see, though. It's always a good thing to see. Not everybody has their parents still around when they're in their as they're approaching their mid-80s, early to mid-80s. Minnesota Viking player, great linebacker, passed away. I believe it was yesterday at 75. It's just 75. It's not that old. And another one passed away at 65. So Joey Browner. It was Jeff Seaman and Joey Browner both passing away. That's kind of for Purple Mafia. That's the podcast I did. We'll talk about that probably, or that I do. We'll talk about that when we do the draft preview. But again, it's focusing on life and, enjoy it while you have it. That type of thing. Enjoy it while you have it because you just don't know. Obviously, enjoy people around you while they're still there is another thing. That type of thing. Obviously, again, I'm a born-again Christian. I'm looking forward to going to heaven, that type of thing. So it's like, yes, enjoy life while you have it, but of course you have eternity too. And make the most of your life and all of that, and, accept the Lord and everything. That's what matters most at the end of the day. Where do I go? Do I go down the back into the political world? I'm afraid to. Other than I just don't really know what to think about what's been going on with the war. And my wife keeps harassing me every single day about how, her 401, her tiny, piddly little 401k keeps going down because of, the war and this and that. It's hurting the stock market. And she's frustrated with Trump and all that. We both voted for Trump proudly. But yes. And I keep telling people, stop panic selling. Me and my brother laughed about that on his birthday back on March the 8th. We were laughing, like, why are people panic selling all the time? Like, a year ago, back in April, when everybody was panic selling during the whole Trump tariff stuff. That was stupid. Like, panic selling is dumb. You're guaranteeing yourself a loss. You're guaranteeing yourself a loss when you do that. Like the whole COVID thing, all the panic selling and all that. There was like the Boston Scientific stock, part of obviously I work for Boston Scientific. I guess I can say that. And the week when all the COVID stuff was really kind of hitting the fan in March in 2020, the stock dropped all the way down to $24 a share from like 40 something, right? Mid 40s, I believe at the time, I think, or was it even all the way up to 50 at one point? It went all the way down to $24 a share. What do you think I did? I bought some. I bought some more shares. In the 401k, I used some of I have some where it's company stock discount stuff, but then also there's a company stock in the 401k. That's an option in the 401k that you can use. Not a stock option, but I mean, it's one of the possibilities you can invest in, where it's linked to just the stock itself of the company rather than, target retirement 45, target retirement 50 or whatever, where it's a mutual fund with a ton of, large companies and small companies and bonds and such all mixed together, where you can take some money out of that and throw it into the Boston Scientific Company stock that had dropped down to the moon, or dropped down to the doldrums of God knows where, at $24 a share. Or again, also I had some that were just sitting in like reserve, like bond funds. That's actually what I really did, and moved it into that. A week later, the stock was $35 a share. Like, again, stop with the panic selling. That's an example why you shouldn't panic sell. A week later, the stock was $35 a share. If things are behaving a little bit differently this time around, it's not as quick. But, panic selling is not a solution. It's not. I understand if you're close to retirement, extremely close to retirement, or you're already retired, that's where it's not so great. And you're hoping maybe you can flip some into the bonds or something, but into like bond funds or something, or even just completely withdraw. But I don't know. At the end of the day, I can understand some fear there, but again, panic selling I don't think is really a solution. There's going to be a bounce back. There always is. And, well, if it's the end of the world, it's the end of the world. If there's going to be the rapture and everything, who cares about money at that point? So I'm just saying, if the rapture were to happen, who cares? God willing, long as you don't get left behind anyway. But that's kind of where, you look at with the whole stock market. Like, panic selling is dumb. It doesn't help. It doesn't help. It puts you behind. And I don't know, you're going to probably be paying taxes anyway, one way or another. I suppose if you actually take a loss, fine, it's a tax refund. Yay. But I mean, you want to take a loss just so you can get a tax refund? It's pretty desperate. So I don't know. That's only good, I suppose, if you're just trying to preserve what you have and, you're much older, you're way past retirement. But if you're in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, take it easy. Panic selling ain't going to help. And unfortunately, my wife keeps bringing it up. Oh, should I just take everything out? I want to take everything out. If I took everything, I would have saved this amount of money. Welcome to the world. It's just sad. It's sad. This is a person, unfortunately, that really hadn't had a 401k most of her life. And yeah, we're not as young as we used to be, that type of thing. Gen X, we're getting older a little bit, unfortunately. But we're not that close to retirement either. Now, some of the older Gen Xs are getting closer to retirement. Somebody like a Jim Hammond, who is, but he ain't going to retire from being a pastor. But I'm just saying it's the older side of Gen X. Just saying, Jim Hammond, just in case 1 in a million chance either him or somebody from Living Word is listening. Senior pastor of Living Word in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. But anyhow, final hour podcast as well, by the way. But yeah, sorry. Panic selling is not the answer, bottom line. That's kind of what it is. Like, just don't do it. You're just hurting yourself more than helping. You are. And I get tired of people bringing it up. Like, at the same time, I'm happy to help people, giving them advice. And I can do that here as well. Like, people at work, I've been asking, should I sell my company stock? Because there's the company stock where you pool money up over the course of like a 6-month period, and it's this amount of money piled up. Then the company averages out the price of the stock the last 6 months, and they chop 15% off, and there you go. That's a GSOP. That's what it's called. It's like a discount where you can purchase stock, and then you have to have it in there at least a certain amount of time before it matures and you can sell it or trade it or whatever you do. That's kind of how that works. It takes a certain amount of money out of your check, like whatever you choose, and da-da-da. People have been asking, like, should I take it out? And I said, no. And I would always give them the example of what took place during the whole COVID-19 scare back in March of 2020. I always bring that same story up because it's not the first time that happened. It hasn't been the last time that happened, where there has been panic selling and the stock bounces back up. Welcome to Earth, folks. Happens all the time. Happens way too often. because of panics for this and panics for that. The whole tariff thing back in April of 25, the stocks bounced back. Maybe not wonderfully, but they did bounce back. And of course, people posting on TikTok like, oh, what a total dumb bleep or whatever. They're making fun of Trump because TikTok is filled with libtards, basically. And it's just like, you people don't even know what you're talking about. The only reason why this money was lost is because of panic idiots like them. Like, they're the real dumb bleeps at the end of the day. They're the ones that are the dumb bleeps are the ones panic selling and constantly, fear-mongering and spreading fear. That you're not helping anybody by doing that. Listening to the CNNs of the world, you're not helping anybody by spreading fear. You are not. The whole COVID thing did not help anybody, spreading fear every day on CNN and CNBC and MSNBC. Mind syphilis, as Bob Bierman would call it, from the Truth to Ponder show. It's just an absolute joke. At the end of the day, panic selling doesn't help anybody, and fear mongering doesn't help anybody. So that's why I recommend people just kind of, I say stay the course as best possible. I understand frustrations and fears with how things are going right now. I kind of share frustrations and fears a little bit without getting too far into it. I'm certainly not on the hate Israel bandwagon. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be joining Candace Wiggins or anybody, of her ilk at this stage. I mean, why should I? She's offering nothing that I need to hear or say at the end of the day. Sorry, I'm trying to get this thing lit up again. There we go. It's waking up now. Sorry. But, maybe I wish I could bring this fire iron or whatever they call this thing. Fire poker, whatever. Log poker. Wish I could do that to the stock market, get it going again a little bit. But, something's going to have to do that. I think the end of the war would be nice, but who knows? I mean, we're in biblical times. We're getting closer and closer to, real parts of Revelation here. Obviously, the early parts of Revelation happened many years ago. The really early stuff. But I mean, that was, like the beginning of Revelation. But the real tribulation Revelation, obviously, we're not there yet. But with each passing day, we're getting closer and closer. There's no doubt about that. So just be ready. That's all. Pray and continue to meditate on God's word and pray for our president and other people around him to make the right decisions. Not only pray for them, but pray for them to make the right decisions as well, along with praying for the protection of your family members and all that, and yourself, of course, as you drive to work to and from every single day. I mean, we all need that. We all need to remember to do that, because every day is crazy. Every day is weird. People are becoming more and more difficult to work with. That's not a rumor. That's not a rumor. That's not an exaggeration. I think that's quite obvious. If you hadn't noticed in your workplace, it's not just mine. It's not just yours. It's everywhere, and it's extremely frustrating. The political environment in this state certainly hasn't helped at all. At the end of the day, when it comes to that kind of conversation, like, people feel they don't have to answer to anyone or anything, and that seems to be a trend, particularly in this state. But I think it's all over the place, and I don't know. It's getting worse and more frustrating, to say the least. With that said, I apologize for the hiatus that continues to happen. It seems like a hiatus after another hiatus after another hiatus. But figured I'd finally get behind the mic, an outdoor fire pit episode, have a little freedom of thought with you. And I wish I could hear from you as well out there. Don't be afraid to send in some type of a message, a call-in, so to speak, like a voicemail. You can basically do it by doing what I'm doing right now, using a voice recording app on your smart device. And when you're done, send it to me, paladinolive@gmail.com. No longer Yahoo, but Gmail. paladinolive@gmail.com. And I can then convert it into an MP3 file, if need be, thanks to cloudconvert.com. And then you will be in the you could call it the feedback segment of the show, the interaction segment of the show. And I'd love to hear from you. I know I've heard from Gerald many times. Gerald String coming out of Nebraska. I believe heard from Mark at least once or twice. Mark Carlson from Iowa. Did I say Gerald String was from Nebraska? South Dakota. Apologize if I said Nebraska. He was, but South Dakota. Unfortunately, Nebraska had a very frustrating ending to their NCAA tournament run this year. Very frustrating ending. A coaching error by a pretty good coach, but unfortunately, I believe he's a pretty big Democrat, though. Fred Hoiberg. He doesn't look like one, but he is, which is annoying. At least I remember hearing that when he was a Minnesota Timberwolf many years ago. But off of that, Gerald String from Nebraska. I know he's had some issues trying to help donate to the show on Give, Send, Go. So I still need to figure out what's going on with that. I mean, I've been either working or kind of chilling, basically. It's like, and then, yeah, excuse me, I'm coughing in the smoke here. I'm either working too much, or when I'm done working, I just want to chill, and then I forget about everything, and that's stupid on my part, and I really apologize. I've been really neglectful, and again, also like not doing the show. I mean, we're talking like March 1st, when Ayatollah Khomeini was killed in the bombing attack. Ironically, too, like his replacement, like his son, I do believe, is gay, which is really strange considering what do Muslims over there do usually to gays? Not good things. So that's really weird. I don't know what to make of that. I really don't know what to make of that. But we'll get off of that rabbit hole right now. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, or if we get there, when it comes to that topic. But yeah, not sure what's happening with Give, Send, Go. I hope they didn't deactivate my account because I hadn't been actually like doing much with it. So I hope not. I mean, they shouldn't. It's not their money. They can't just steal it, can they? So that would be wrong. But yeah, I just I'm not sure what's going on, and I better look into that pretty soon here. But thank you so much, Gerald. You are an amazing person. You really are, and I want you to know that. I remember he had a really big call-in back in 24, I do believe, when we talked about, or was that 25? I think that was 24 before the election. Yeah, it had to have been 24. It couldn't have been 25 when he called in and talked a bit about how things are done like with the farming and processing food and such, coming in from the farm, like beef and such, and vegetables and fruits. Yes, they do a better job than people give them credit, that type of thing. So it was a really good show. It was I call it Keep America Healthy. It was a really good call-in, and hope to hear from Gerald again for another call-in for this show. I'm almost having a feeling like he did call into this one, but I think it was Purple Mafia for the season wrap-up type of thing. But yeah, Gerald, love to hear from you again. Mark, out there, anybody. I remember Ray from Kentucky. I'd love to hear from you again, too. I mean, the only thing I censored at the time when I said I censored things, it was just the cursing. That's it. It's not like I censored the call, like, oh, I can't have this guy on the show. Actually, he made a lot of really good points. It's just, it didn't need to have, didn't need to have dumb C and F-bombs and stuff. I mean, don't think that people really necessarily want to hear about that too much. I understand the frustration that would lead to cursing and such with a lot of these Democrats and woke nonsense have brought to us. But yeah, I mean, it's just saying. All I censored was the cursing. Otherwise, I thought his calls were great. I think the rebrand might have pissed him off a little bit. Like, what the heck is this? So it's too bad, because I remember right around the same time I noticed a follower had left. It was like the number went down. It's just like, oh no. So I'm guessing he just left and was like, screw this milquetoast swear word. He probably said something along those lines. So whatever, right? But just in case, 1 in a million chance he's still out there. Ray from Kentucky would love to hear from you again, just in case. But if not, I guess it is what it is, and I'm sorry. Donna Aspinwall, would love to hear from you sometime. Yeah, it'd be great. We talk politics a lot. Her Duke team, unfortunately, got beat today by frickin' UConn. I was not happy about that at all. Miracle jump shot. That was annoying. I was so mad. I was mad. I really don't like UConn. And, yeah. I just don't. The team annoys me. But getting into sports again when you probably aren't necessarily here for that. But then again, maybe you are. Maybe you like sports. Either way, I hope everyone is having a nice start to their spring. And just continue to pray, I guess, day in, day out. I need to be much better about that. The more I pray, I think the better for peaceful days at work rather than frustrations and dealing with just unnecessary nonsense and tensions like yesterday at work. Unnecessary stuff, just not necessary. And I don't think I prayed enough, that's all. And I need to pray more. With that said, thank you so much for listening. And God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.